you just browse computer sites like PLE, Amazon, and whatever else you may browse, and you really want to get yourself a gaming computer capable of running 1080p with inbuilt Wi-Fi tag, do you really want a PC with 32GB of RAM, AMD Ryzen 7 5700G, and a GTX 1660? Yeah, me too. That was me, up until about 2 weeks ago. I didn't think it was possible to be able to afford this type of computer at the type of budget I had. I was looking for something with under $1,000. But I made it work, and here's how. This PC has 32GB of Vengeance RGB Pro DDR4 RAM at 3200MHz. Has a CPU, which is the Ryzen 7 5700 series with onboard graphics. Has onboard Wi-Fi 6 and 5GHz frequency band support, onboard Ethernet. The motherboard is the Asus TUF B550M Plus Wi-Fi 2, which has 2 USB 3.2 gens, 4 USB 3.2 gens, 2 USB 2.0 ports, 1 DisplayPort, 1 HDMI, and 1 onboard Wi-Fi antenna. This motherboard is all you need, fully upgradable, supports up to 4GB of DDR4 RAM or up to 128GB of memory, hosts AMD 5000 series, 4000 series, and 3000 series processors. Has onboard two-way noise AI cancelling, also known as the Dorito cancelling. Cancels unwanted background noise from your microphone and oncoming audio, so when you're playing COD, you can't hear your teammates' important instructions or if you have a teammate crunching on his Doritos, well, don't have to worry about that anymore. If onboard HDMI isn't what you want, also has 1 DisplayPort. Now, this may vary depending on the CPU that you have, or if you have a graphics card or not. Personally, when I first built this, I didn't have a graphics card, and I gamed just purely off the CPU, which worked perfectly, which, by the way, is water-cooled. A water-cooled CPU for under $700, hitting temps of no more than 45 degrees Celsius. That's a good budget PC. The Ryzen 7, the 5700G, to be exact, is a great CPU, but I'll talk about that more later. First, let's talk about the cooling. The case comes with 3 stock fans, which very silent. The microphone is right next to them at the moment, but you can't even hear them. For CPU cooling, I use the FrostFlow 240 Snow Edition, which pumps out 116 litres per hour with a noise level of less than 25 decibels. And honestly, I can't even hear it even when I'm playing CPU intensive games like the new City Skylines 2. This cooler supports Intel LGA 1700, LGA 1200, LGA 2066, and LGA 2011, and supports AMD, AM4, and AM5 chips. Dimensions wise, it's 285 by 120 by 30mm, housing 2 fans in it. The tube length is 400mm, and the water block dimension is 70 by 50mm. I haven't tried it yet, but I do believe if you do find the right fan size, you could just switch out the fans for even better ones if you really needed to, or if you wanted to have the same fans as the case, I could understand that then. The fans are 120 by 120 by 25mm, which is a pretty common size. They have a static white LED, which personally for my build suits really well with the white case. Personally, I couldn't be happier with this cooler. I went from a gaming laptop, which the CPU was well over 100 degrees when I was trying to play simple games like Minecraft, going to this, where my CPU at max playing City Skylines 2 reached 45 degrees. Right now, as I'm recording this video, it's sitting at about 32 degrees. That's just incredible. Why would I need anything better? This is just the best that you can get for such a tight budget. Now, let's talk about the GPU and RAM. When I first built this computer, I didn't even have a GPU. The CPU, the Ryzen 7 5700G, has onboard graphics with support of up to 4K in select titles. But honestly, I haven't been able to see that. That's just what they say on their website. It mostly runs games at 1080p, hitting great FPS values of about 120 FPS on Minecraft with shaders, for example. My gaming laptop, which was an Intel i5 RTX 3050 Ti, it was an Acer Nitro in case you're wondering, it was hitting about 50 FPS on Minecraft with shaders. The CPU alone in this computer is hitting close to 120 FPS. 60 FPS most of the time, but it does hit 120 FPS, which, by my standards, if it hits it once, that's incredible. Going from a gaming laptop to this incredible PC, which cost me half the price of that gaming laptop, I could never wish for anything better. And if you're considering building a PC, seriously, just do it. It cost me $700 without the GPU, but I have since put one in. But $700 is all it's going to cost you for this incredible machine. So technically it would cost you over $700, but if you don't want a GPU, you're well under $700 for this type of performance. Since I got this computer, I used a second-hand GTX 1660, which cost me less than $100. And personally, it could be better, but it does take the stress off my CPU a fair bit. And has a combined VRAM of 16 gig, which that's all I ever need. With the GPU in it, I can play games like Minecraft, City Skylines, Skyrim, Fallout, GTA 5 Online, GTA 5 Story Mode. I can play them all at over 20 FPS without any stuttering. That's just incredible by any means. Whether you're looking at a $4,000 computer or a $500 computer, running those titles without stutter at 120 FPS is the dream. Now, the CPU supports up to 120Hz gaming. I'm not sure about the GPU as of the time of recording this, but the system could support 120Hz gaming, 120 FPS. That's just incredible, isn't it? In this PC, I learnt from my mistakes with my gaming laptop. I had an onboard 12 gig of RAM, which at the time I thought that was incredible. I went from another laptop, which only had 8 gigs. I was like, wow, 12 gig, I can do anything. I can have more than 2 Chrome tabs open. Since having that laptop, I realized 12 gig isn't really enough for most games. Sure, it may work, but if you hit that 12 gig, your game just stutters, crashes. It's just not a fun time for anyone. So I put 32 gig in this one. And 32 gig has never felt better. For video editing on Premiere Pro, I'm not sure if it's the CPU, the GPU, the RAM, or a combo of all of them. Just recently, I exported a video. Go check it out, by the way. City Skylines, first looks. But I exported it. It was about 18 gigabytes. It did it in 5 minutes. I don't even have that good Wi-Fi. It did it in 5 minutes. That's incredible. On my laptop, it would have taken me about 15. But 32 gig for games like Minecraft with shaders, I keep going back to as an example because I think people who are looking in a budget play games like that. Or the new Ark Survival Ascended. Just 32 gig I've found is the sweet spot. Mixing it around with some other RAM sticks I have laying about to make it up to 64 gig, there was not much performance difference. Maybe like 1 or 2 FPS, a little bit less stutter, maybe slightly quicker loading times if that, although all that could just be coincidence. 32 gig of RAM cost me about $150 when I bought it, but to be fair, I was on sale for some parts. If you guys are building a computer, check out the links in the description. There is the RAM, GPU, CPU case, all that listed, but I've still got more to talk about. You guys aren't ready to leave yet. If you are wondering about upgradability, the motherboard does support AM5, only supports DDR4, but up to 128 gig. Supports up to 2 PCIe 2 express slots, so you could have theoretically 2 graphics cards if you really wanted, although it doesn't have SLI Crossfire. It has space for at least 3 more fans, with an extra 2 possibly in the front, 1 on the back, and definitely 1 underneath, although I'm not sure why you would do that. If I didn't have the top-mounted radiator for the CPU cooler, you could put 3 smaller fans up there, or 2 big ones like the radiator comes with. The onboard internet on this saved me about $50 of a Wi-Fi card, and honestly, it's just perfect. Before on my old computers, I'd have a bit of drop-off, even when directly plugged into the router. With this, my internet max speed is only 75 megabits, but when plugged into the router, I get that full 75 megabits, which is just incredible. When I'd used it on previous computers, such as the pre-built Alienware R12, it would drop to about half of that for some reason, not quite sure why. Or my previous gaming laptop, it would be probably 10, 20 under the maximum, which very frustrating when you've got speeds like that, but you can't use them all. Just, yeah, really did my head in at the time. So, if you've made it this far into the video, you're probably looking at these parts thinking, damn, I want to buy that, but I don't know how to build a computer. If that's you, I've got the right tool for you. I used a website called PartPicker, which allowed me to budget the build. It showed me all the things that I could do, and at the bottom, showed me which part goes into where. I'd never built a computer previously to this. I'd only ever upgraded parts, or cleaned some, or just bits and bobs. But PartPicker shows you exactly what goes where. For example of this, it tells me CPU slot, put the AMD Ryzen 7. Memory slots, in RAM 1, RAM 2, RAM 3, RAM 4. Put the respective memories. In your expansion slots, the PCIe 2, put your graphics card, which I wanted to put an RTX 3050, but it did break the bank a little bit. It shows you which slots to leave covered. If you wanted SSDs, HDDs, which I will say I didn't include them in the budget because I salvaged them from previous computers, it shows you what SATA ports to put them in, what M.2s to put them in. It's just incredible. It explains how to attach all the different power supply connectors. Tells you the ATX 24 pin to put in a certain slot on the motherboard. Your 8 pin, put that in a different slot. Just explains all of that. Even explains which power slots you need to plug in to your graphics card. When I was a bit stumped trying to build this computer on my own, I just went back onto PartPicker where I picked out the parts, and I scrolled to the bottom and I was like, okay, this is really helpful. I did have to refer to the manuals for a few things like the fan plugins and how to install the CPU cooler, which if you guys do want, I can make a video, just leave a comment on that, because it did take me a little bit of time. But for the most part, it explained everything just perfectly well. The case I chose is a deep cool, which I love it. I love the side tempered glass, the front, the 2 ports on the top for USBs. I'm a big fan of this case. It's a micro ATX case, which I probably could have gone a little bit bigger for upgradability reasons. But honestly, even putting the 4060 Aero in it, it still fit. So like, why would I need more? It saved me $50 more for buying a normal ATX tower case. If you guys do want to see performance, I'll make another video on that. So look out for that in the coming days. If you guys are interested in how I did this, check the description below. I'm leaving links to all the Amazon links. I'll add some PLE links in there, which is where I did get my parts from. Shout out to PLE. But if you're American or of a different state where PLE is not so common, just check out the Amazon links. It's a little bit more, but express shipping. But that is all for today. I hope you guys have enjoyed and learned something, and I really do hope you build this computer for yourself. It's the best decision I've made recently. I'm really happy with it. Thank you guys all so much for watching. See you guys later.